Ready? Now guys, this violence isn't just out on the frontier, it's in Washington, D.C. Okay, you have a joint session where both the Senate as well as the House of Representatives are meeting. And Senator Sumner is there, and guys, Senator Sumner, by this time is an old guy, I'm talking in his 60s. He was a senator in Massachusetts. He had fought to make sure that the schools in Massachusetts were desegregated. Okay, he had fought to kind of lift up the rights of the freedmen, and he's talking bad about slavery, which is just making Representative Brooks, first year representative from South Carolina. He's listening to all these words, he's grabbing his cane, his knuckles are white, he's grabbing it so, and he just loses it because Sumner's up there saying so much bad, gets over there, whacks him over the top of the head with his cane so hard he breaks his cane. Then he starts kicking the phooey out of Sumner on the ground. He beats Sumner so bad it takes him 3 years to recover. Alright? Now guys, what do you think the results of this rumble was? Well guys, both people, they become heroes. To the north, all Sumner was doing was just speaking the truth. And look at that slavery guy that got him and beat him so bad. That is just like him. Meanwhile, to the south, oh, look at it. Oh, we were doing nothing. That guy was talking bad about slavery. He got up to defend our rights. And now the north says that we're animals. What is this kind of like? Guys, it's kind of like the... How many of y'all remember People's Reaction? Because y'all probably didn't watch them. Why? Because you actually have good lives. Not, you have fun things to do with your lives. That's what I meant by good lives. And that you have better things to do than sit around and watch a political debate between Trump and Hillary Clinton. But if you saw that debate, if you were a Hillary Clinton supporter, oh, you should Trump. He was looking at her mean the whole time, and he was kind of lurking around, and all her answers were so brilliant, and they sounded so smart, and she's really going to be a great president. Meanwhile, if you're on the other side, man, that Trump, boy, he got that Hillary, I tell you what, she just opened her mouth, dude, he got right before she was there. I mean, it was funny. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I voted for Trump, okay? Even though I'm a libertarian. If that means anything. And by the way, guys, I don't care how y'all vote. Just make sure you get the League of Women Voters guide. Because it's a nonpartisan, this is the way they feel. Do you have a question? Okay. Then we get to the election of 1856. This is the first appearance by the Republican Party. It's defeated, but narrowly. Meanwhile, the American Party in this election, it totally collapses. It can't maintain its own weight. Oh, and by the way, guys, hate to tell you, but the guy who was the presidential candidate for the American Party was Sam Houston, who left the Senate to run as president. Why? He may not have believed in everything the American Party wanted, but he knew our country was falling apart. He wanted to do anything he could to try to bring it back. He even contemplated, hey, let's declare war on Mexico again. Because at least then the country was all united. So who gets elected is a 65-year-old Pennsylvania man on March 4th, 1857, good old James Buchanan. And even though our country needed a strong leader, he's wholly unable to provide it. Now guys, it may not be his fault, because by this time, basically regionalism is lurking behind everything. And kind of bringing this issue home, to the north is the Dred Scott case. Now, Dred Scott was a slave, who his master had bought him in Missouri, which is a slave state. His master, however, was in the army. Anybody here have any relations in the army or anything? Nobody here knows anybody in Europe? Who's, do you know?
My cousin.
Okay, does he get to choose where he's deployed? No. Guys, you don't, what the Army might tell you is, hey, give us 3 places, and you won't be sent to any of them, but they make you feel like you have a choice. He was sent to Ohio, which is a free state. Well, what does he do? He brings Dred Scott with him. Okay, so from 1842 to 1844, Dred Scott was a slave in a free state. Well, later on, his master dies. The mistress was going to free him, but he said, no, I want to take this to the Supreme Court. So he finally gets before the Supreme Court in 1856, where he says, hey, look, I was a slave in a free state. That ain't right. And the Supreme Court ruled that property is property is property is property. In other words, you were a slave in Missouri, you are a slave in Ohio. Which basically meant that now Congress can no longer limit slavery in the territories, and it's all going to be open. Which converted more people to the Republican Party. We got it? Then you have Kansas that tries to submit the Lecompton Constitution. That was heavily pro-slavery. Congress doesn't approve it because it said that non-residents had participated in the ratification vote, but by the time it gets back to the people of Kansas, more free soilers have moved there, which means that it's defeated in Kansas for a second go round. Then we have some debates in Illinois between Senator Stephen Douglas, aka the Little Giant, and a guy that's going to make a run for the Republican Party for the Senate seat of Illinois, Abraham Lincoln. Basically, they had a series of debates. It should come as no surprise that a lot of it was about slavery. How did Abraham Lincoln, what did he say about slavery in these debates? He believed that slavery should not be allowed to expand to the territories. Because if you keep slavery from growing, it's going to die out. For example, here we have right now, they're pretty even. The number of slave states and the number of free states. But if we limit the number of slave states, the other states that come in, they all have to be free. And all these free states can start passing laws, making it more and more difficult for the slave states to maintain slavery. That was his argument. Meanwhile, what did Stephen Douglas feel? Stephen Douglas, he was the Freeport Doctrine, bless you, which basically was popular sovereignty. Hey, let the states decide. Democracy in action. Got it? Well, now you have the South becoming feeling more and more like it's under attack.